In the heart of New Orleans, where the streets always seemed to hum with music and the scent of freshly baked bread and coffee filled the air, there was a small cafe called Crescent Moon Café. It wasn't much to look at from the outside: a faded wooden sign, chipped paint, and a few rickety tables on the sidewalk. But inside, something magical happened every evening. That magic came from an elderly woman named Lillian Davis. Lillian was 87 years old. Her silver hair was always pinned back neatly, and she wore soft, dark dresses that flowed loosely around her. Most days, she sat quietly in the corner of the cafe, reading old music sheets or sipping coffee. But every night, when the cafe's lights dimmed and the jazz musicians began their set, Lillian would approach the grand piano in the corner. She played like no one else. Her fingers moved across the keys with grace and precision, and each note carried decades of emotion, love, loss, joy, and regret. The regular customers of the cafe rarely paid attention at first. The music was beautiful, yes, but it had become a background for conversation, laughter, and clinking glasses. Few knew who Lillian really was. Few knew what she had done. Until one evening something changed. A young man named Marcus, a rising jazz musician from Chicago, happened to enter the cafe. He had heard whispers about the place's legendary piano player, but had never expected to find an octogenarian woman at the keys. When Lillian began to play, Marcus froze. Every note was flawless, filled with soul and history. It wasn't just music, it was storytelling without words. Marcus could hear the life of the city, the stories of its streets, and something more personal, something timeless, in her playing. He approached the piano after she finished her piece. "Excuse me, ma'am," Marcus said softly, "but who taught you to play like that?" Lillian smiled politely. "I taught myself, mostly. Many years ago, when I was much younger." "You must be famous," Marcus said, eyes wide. "You play like a professional." Lillian shook her head. "I used to be, long ago. But fame is a tricky thing. It comes and goes. Music, however, music stays." "Curious," Marcus asked, "can you tell me about your story?" Lillian hesitated. Then, seeing the genuine admiration in Marcus's eyes, she nodded. "Many decades ago," she began, "I played in grand concert halls, traveled across the country, and even recorded a few albums. But life has a way of changing your path. My husband and I moved here to raise a family. The music I played for crowds became music I played for my children. And then, eventually, just for myself." Marcus listened, captivated. "But why play here in a small cafe for a few people?" he asked. Lillian's eyes softened. "Because music is meant to be shared, even if no one knows your name. Sometimes, it doesn't matter if the world remembers you. What matters is the hearts you touch." Marcus realized that the music he had heard wasn't just performance. It was history, life, and emotion poured into every key. That evening, something incredible happened. A local jazz promoter happened into the cafe. Hearing Lillian play, he stopped in awe. "Who is that woman?" he asked. Marcus introduced him. "This is Lillian Davis. She's amazing, as you can hear." The promoter nodded. "I'd like to record her. People need to hear this." Lillian laughed softly. "I don't need fame anymore. I only play because it's who I am." But Marcus convinced her. "Let people hear your story. You deserve that." Months later, Lillian's recordings were released, and people from all over the country came to the Crescent Moon Café to hear her play. But even with the attention, Lillian remained humble, returning to her quiet corner each day, greeting her neighbors, and playing with the same passion she always had. Her music reminded everyone who listened that it's never too late to share your gift, and that the world often forgets many talents, but the impact of a heartfelt note, a melody that touches the soul, can last forever. Lillian Davis, the forgotten piano player, became a legend not through fame, but through the love and life she poured into every note. And every night, as the city lights of New Orleans shimmered through the cafe windows, the soft, lingering sounds of her piano reminded everyone that true music never dies. It waits quietly for someone to listen.